Let's go to Danny White being named the athletic director of the year, a finalist that I have seen, and I believe he also won that as well. So let me ask you this. We'll begin here. What do you make of Danny White's time as Tennessee's athletic director? I think most people would say it's absolutely fantastic. He has been named the finalist for athletic director of the year by the Sports Business Journal. I think most people would say it's been an A plus. You?
I think Danny White's done an incredible job. Yeah, he's a finalist for athletic director of the year by the Sports Business Journal, and I think he's done an incredible job as athletic director.
I feel like there's a but coming.
I think he's getting credit for a lot of other stuff that was happening. For a lot of things that happened before he got to Tennessee. Not that he hasn't done a good job. But let me break it down to you this way, Dave. I'm a historian. I study history. Most presidents, pretty much all presidents who have high approvals because people are happy about the economy. The economy is good because of 1,000 things that were done before they ever took office, and they take credit for it. To give you an example, you remember how Bill Clinton was very popular for the good economy in the late 90s?
Yes.
There was a dot-com bubble that happened from the Information Superhighway Act in 91 that exploded the economy in the late 90s. That's why he was benefiting from that. The same with Dwight Eisenhower in the 50s. People loved the Eisenhower economy of the 50s. That was because America was the only country that could produce anything because they were the only ones that didn't get wrecked by World War II. Of course the economy was going to be good during that time period. You and I could have presided over that economy and it be successful. It's the same kind of with Danny White. There were a lot of disasters going on with Tennessee before he got there. He did happen to take over at the exact same time the Tennessee ship was being righted with or without him. And
by the way, Caleb said ship, S-H-I-P.
Yes, the ship.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
He gives a ton of... Now, I'll say this. The engine that drives the train is football. Danny White did fix the engine. He replaced the engine. But is it safe to say all the other car parts that were in place were very good parts, and all he had to do was replace the engine?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he inherits Tony Vitello. He inherits Rick Barnes. One's a championship coach. One's as solid of a coach without being a champion as you could possibly be. But the most competitive hire in college athletics is going to be a football. So you make that hire, and that's replacing a heck of an engine, Caleb. I don't want to shortchange that hire. I think he made the right hire. Ultimately, won't this come down to what Josh Heupel does? If Josh Heupel starts to stumble, and he has stumbled a little bit last year, not completely fell down. They still made the college football playoff, obviously. But if he starts to stumble a little bit, falls short of the college football playoff this year, which is a real possibility given the fact they have to rebuild offensively and defensively, you might as well take that Sports Business Journal nomination away from Danny White because you can do it retroactively if you would like. Let's make the poll question around Danny White. And to some extent, I want it to be, is Danny White an elite athletic director? Yes, Vols competing in everything, or no, he makes me spend too much money. Because Dylan points that out. There has been no shortage of asking for more out of your wallet. And Dylan points that out. Danny's done a great job at making me spend money. Whether it's this talent fee that they have or whether it's a raise in overall prices, yes, it is a lot of money. And I know a lot of people, and let me discuss the talent fee for a second. That's an issue with a lot of people. Now, I'm probably right of that age, Caleb, where I could go either way. But guys that are slightly older than me, guys and gals, I stole that from Philip Fulmer. Guys and gals, they're not real happy about that because some of them don't like NIL and they believe players should be happy to get a college scholarship and that's enough of a payment. People younger than me, like you, for the most part, support NIL because we thought it was and I do as well. We thought it was an unfair system. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. We thought NIL. So
to finish that point real quick, it's the guys that are older than me, the guys and gals, that have the most money. So this talent fee thing rubs a lot of people the wrong way, and a lot of people that have deep pockets. I wonder this. I said it's just tied to Hypel, but I do kind of wonder if the talent fee thing could blow up in his face.
I don't think it will because everybody's doing it. So this is kind of a free market based thing. It's sometimes you can do things people hate as long as everybody else is doing it. Your phone company, guys, they make sure that your phone's battery starts to drain and suck after you've had it for 2 years. So you have to get another one. You know why they get away with that? Because every other phone company does it. So which phone company are you going to go to? I mean,
I just wouldn't. I think it was a PR misstep. I just wouldn't have said it. I just would have given it to them.
don't tell them. Just say you're having to raise the prices and just like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought that was a very bad PR move. I don't know who's reaching out to him in terms of PR. Derek says Danny White hasn't grown on me. I'm staying distance from him. He's like the high end blonde. Do you want the hassle or settle for the girl next door with no headache? So was it Marie? What was the Ginger and Marie from Gilligan's Island? Is he Ginger or Marie? He's definitely Ginger. But I will tell you, you want Ginger, you want some style, you want that sort of thing. And we may want to go home with the girl next door, but you want Ginger going to your donors and asking for more money because she can bust it from them.
Ah,
Yeah.
love it. Yes, but see the ones that do that, the
There are no
gingers,
boobs.
the ginger that does that, the ones that use the looks to get what you need, they don't put those looks to good use in the bedroom. I'm just gonna say it. They because they don't have to. So which one would you prefer? I'm just gonna say that. Look,
Marianne, that's what it was. Thank you, Steve. Marianne.
it's like what you're seeing, Dave. I gotta be honest. You're right. With to be fair, you're right. I'll say this. You want the ginger as the athletic director. You want that's not wifey material, though. But the football coach is the wife, right? The football coach is the wife. The athletic director is the business partner.
I guess. I mean, if you want to go in that direction, Dylan said the other thing that's rubbed people the wrong way is this hotel entertainment district. I don't completely understand that. Dylan says, I just wish he'd get this idea of trying to turn Knoxville into a playground. We have no use for a hotel entertainment district above G10 that his normal fan won't even be able to afford. I'm not sure how this whole thing goes down because I may not be around to see it, but at some point that whole thing's going to be 20 years old. And how does it age? Because you don't have a lot of space there. Are you tearing it down in 20 years and rebuilding it? Or, I mean, they only use the Georgia Dome, which was a state of the art facility for 25 years.
Exactly. No,
Oh,
that's a great
Steve,
point.
you're absolutely right. Sorry to sidetrack you. I was in love with Samantha from Bewitched. I watched Bewitched just recently. It is unbelievable.
What
Go ahead.
you know? And you know what's funny? You say that about the entertainment district because like this is a part of college football that's like it's one of the best parts about it. And we're losing this. We've already lost the bowl games and the value of the regular season, and now Danny White's part of us losing this. Sports operates under the philosophy of newer is always better, right? Barney from How I Met Your Mother said that newer is always better. Newer is only better in the moment, but eventually you got to think of something that's going to be vintage. Neyland Stadium is vintage, right? And the vintage is way more in college football. Wouldn't you agree, Dave, more than any other sport has embraced vintage? Every stadium pretty much is vintage.
Yes.
Why do you guys think Wrigley Field and Fenway still draw a ton of fans? They ain't the nicest stadiums, if you really think about it. They're vintage. People love it. And they hold that dear to their hearts. What you're right. What Tennessee's doing with the entertainment district, it's going to be so cool and novel for 5 years. And then what's going to happen? And you're obstructing one of the best, most scenic views in college football with a tall. Here's Danny White's big problem. I'll tell you what Danny White's biggest problem is. Maybe an athletic director needs to do this, maybe not. He's acting like he's still the athletic director at UCF.
There you go.
And
how much tradition is there at UCF?
None. And UCF is trying to grow a football program. That's great, the stuff he's doing at UCF. it's not needed for Tennessee. You don't have to do it at Tennessee. And I think it's going to come across sooner rather than later. I still credit him for the hype. I mean, but even like he told Jimmy Hyams was on our show and told him, he told Jimmy Hyams as great as he is as a hire, like he's known for making an early splash. And he said, I'm a marketer. He's like, my job is to market. And so he hires from marketing. That's why he keeps hiring up-tempo coaches. But I mean, Dave, I just have to ask about this real quick. He's hired a lot of successful coaches. I said that when he was hired, he's got the best hiring track record in the country. You know, someone brought up to me though, Dave, that nobody he's hired has ever won a national championship, even as they've gotten promoted to other schools. Where's Nate Oates' national title?
No, he seems like a great young coach, but he also seems like a coach is okay with his players having guns that kill people.
Yes.
So a couple of different things on the message board. Jimmy says, why did UT pay a search firm to find a football coach, then hire the coach from Central Florida where Mr. White came from? That's fair, because I will defend the search firms to a large extent because I think they do a lot of background checking, but he should have known Josh Heupel's background from being there. Now, here's why he hired a search firm is because Josh Heupel was not his first choice. And he ended up settling on Josh Heupel because Tennessee was a total train wreck of a program and they couldn't go out and hire just anybody they want. If Josh Heupel if he's the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys a year from now, Tennessee can pretty much go out and hire whoever they want. I mean, they can't get Kirby Smart. Don't start bringing up Ryan Day and those sorts of things. But when it comes to a good young coach or even an established coach, they'll be in a far different shape than what they were. So that in and of itself, I think speaks to Danny White's impact. I'm a big white guy. I am a big white guy. And I just think that, listen, I've been around radio salespeople, and there can be a little bit of slickness to them. Is that a nice way to put it, Caleb?
That's a very nice way to put it.
It can be slick. That's comes with the territory. So is he a little slick? Probably, Caleb, but I don't have a problem with that. Can you update us on our poll question, please?
Yes. Is Danny White an elite AD? Yes. Vols compete in everything. No, he makes me spend too much cash. You want the results? And then I'm going to set up a poll question too.
Yes.
Yes, Vols compete in everything, 62%. No, he makes me spend too much cash, 38%. And, you know, I got to ask this because, like, I think about this with Tennessee and, like, there's an affordability crisis for kids going to college, right?
Yes.
There's an affordability crisis in this country. How are things like the entertainment district and, like, other stuff like that still being built when fewer and fewer people have it? When those prices are way higher than they used to be and fewer people have the money to be able to afford to live anymore? How do these things still work? Is it just like a of, by, and for the boosters and their rich kids?
Quite possibly. My question, I want to ask this on the message board. So the between the pilot sponsorship, the talent fee, and the entertainment district, what do you have the biggest issue with? And maybe we could make that a poll question. The UPS store Hardin Valley, helping individuals and small businesses, wide range of products and services, locally owned and operated. The link is right down below. We highly encourage you to check them out. We certainly appreciate their support. Caleb, Tennessee's fan base seems to have 3 issues with Danny White. And one is talent fee, that older fans that have money have an issue with that. I had an issue with the pilot sponsorship and the way it was spun. This is an opportunity to keep things in-house or whatever was the term they used. The bottom line is they didn't have to sell a sponsorship. They wanted the money. And then the entertainment district, which I think has a shelf life. And I think that you talked about tradition or vintage, I think was it the word you used? Is it vintage?
Yes,
okay.
Vintage.
Okay, well, vintage is tailgating. Nothing speaks to college football more than tailgating. So you're taking away a lot of tailgate area. Have you been to many NFL games, Caleb?
I have been to NFL games in Nashville, Green Bay, and Washington, D.C., which is not even in Washington, D.C. It's in PG County.
Right. Okay, so take away Green Bay because that's probably the outlier. But for the most part, if you're standing around an NFL stadium, you have to pay money. You either what they do is they make sure that you're not allowed to have alcohol. You have limited space to be able to tailgate. Tailgating around an NFL stadium means spending a lot of money. Tailgating around college stadiums, especially UT, meant that yes, you paid for your parking pass, but you were able to carry all your stuff there. So the entertainment district's going to take that away. So let me hear from you in the message board. If we want to make it a poll question, and we can. My biggest issue with Danny White is talent fee, pilot sponsorship, entertainment district.